blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Welcome to Moments with Myra, the podcast where we dive deep into real stories, inspiring journeys, and the moments that shape who we are. As we celebrate Black History Month, we're highlighting leaders who are making history right now in this moment, those who break barriers, build bridges, and create change in our communities. Today, I am honored to be joined by Guilford County Sheriff Danny Rogers, a trailblazer who made history as the first Black sheriff of Guilford County. We'll talk about his journey, his leadership, and the legacy he's building through service, integrity, and community connection. So sit back, take a moment, and join me for this powerful conversation with Sheriff Danny Rogers. Sheriff Rogers, thank you so much and welcome to Moments with Myra. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing well, and thank you so very much for the opportunity, Miss Myra.
Absolutely.
Really, thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing space with me today. So, for those who may not know your story, can you share a little bit about your background and what inspired you to pursue a career in law enforcement?
Sure. Born and raised in the city of High Point. Went to the public schools back then. In High Point, Guilford County, and Greensboro schools were three school system. So we
Mhm.
had being over there where we was at in particular neighborhoods. We was in 27260. We was in the public school system. So, mom did the best she could with us, took care of us. Grandparents and great grandparents helped out with us with the absence of my dad, and the fact that he was still trying to figure it out, grow up and figure out who he was.
Yes.
So we come on along. I fast forward into high school. Well, I wanted to quit high school, and actually I quit. I quit high
Really?
school. I told a friend of mine, I said, "Ma'am, say Friday's my last day." He said, "What you gonna do?" I said, "I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired." I said, "I'm tired of coming to school. I'm tired of being broke." I said, "I'm tired of every time I turn around, the white's this, the white's that." I come up in a community where, I needed to have more of my cultureness in me, learning how to understand and to teach me. So he messed around. He said, "Well," he said, "Okay." And I think about a day later, my football coach, walks down the hall, and I'm standing in the lunch line. And this particular day, the lunch line was no one in there line but me.
Mm-hmm.
And normally the lunch line was full of people. And we was in there, getting reduced free lunch. So we're doing what we do. And he walks through. He said, "Rogers." He says, "I hear you quitting high school, son." I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Friday's my last day." I said, "Oh." He said, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" I said, "I'm going to work." He said, "Hmm." And he's a white coach, good coach. Coach Roy Board. He backed off and leaned against the wall and twirled that whistle and looked at me for about 30 seconds. It seemed like it was longer than that. And then he said, "Rogers, you have the rest of your life to work, son. Finish school." Well, I was already not doing the best in school when when I wanted to. When I focused, I did well in school. When I didn't focus, when I went through, I tell people, listen to your teenagers. Listen to their heart. Listen to their heart, because they're depressed, they're angry, they're upset. But
Mhm.
if you listen to them, you can figure out some things. But nevertheless, we moved on forward. The bell rings on that Friday. I don't clean out my locker, put my lock up in my locker, and my books. I don't turn my books in and everything. Bell rings, I go and get on the bus. I'm gone. I am not coming back to school. Ooh, felt such a refreshment. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So went on and went. I had a part-time job that weekend. On the weekend, every day I had a part-time job. I always worked, thank God. And I was working for Harley Farms Fried Chicken, which was on Greensboro High Point Road in High Point. There's now the thrift store bakery. But nevertheless, Harley Farms Fried Chicken. And I worked that weekend, and I did my drinking and my beer. Teenager. Call myself knowing everything. You can tell me nothing. So I forgot to tell my great grandmother that I was not going back to school and I was going to go and get me a job or I was going to work full time. Well, Monday morning come around, the alarm clock, the little alarm clocks used to they would twist it up and it would dance across the nightstand. That thing woke me up at 6:30 in the morning. I said, boy, what in the world I'm gonna do? I got up, got dressed, got back on the school bus. And the first person I saw when I got off that school bus and walked into the school was my coach.
Coach. I think that story is so powerful, and especially you sharing it with me, not just for Black History Month and honoring your legacy, but it's so important for us to, like you said, listen to the kids, listen to um, what the messages they're trying to convey, because I think a lot of the issues that we have with our young people is because we don't listen. So I'm glad that you inserted that in your story, because I think it's an important message for us to relay to not only myself, but other parents and other people that may be listening, because we're losing our kids now because we're not listening to them or seeing the signs and stuff that they're trying to give us. So I really, really appreciate that.
That is so true. But anyway, so I move forward, go forward, and I've had some really good jobs. I've been blessed to be assistant managers at restaurants, and before I came into the entrepreneurs, until I came into the law enforcement setting. So I came into the law enforcement setting through Guilford County Sheriff's Office, the sheriff's office that I oversee now as the sheriff. I came in and I had applied to be a deputy, and they told me that they had no position, but they had positions in the courthouse. I mean, in the jail. So I said, okay. I know me. I like, hey, if I can get in the jail, that'll give me a start. So I took it, and as I come in for orientation, there was a couple of team members of mine that I didn't know, but we learned each other that day. Um, was not looking like me. They was Caucasian, and I'm being the black guy in there, and I'm going to the jail unsworn. They going to the jail to start out, but being sworn, but going to patrol. I said, really? I said, how did that happen? How did that come about? So it went on, and I ended up that I could never get the end the story. Couldn't never get the story. Other than I figured out as I got older. So I worked in the detention center for a little over a year and a half, and I was going home. I was at home in High Point. I worked in Greensboro, so I was home in High Point. I'm coming down Washington, Gordon Street, and the police officer clocked me 50 miles an hour in a 35. Woo! Pulled me over, and I had my uniform in the back seat. And thinking anything about it. The next day, I get a phone call. He writes me a ticket. The guy writes me a ticket, and I was scared I was gonna lose my job. I'm in law enforcement, and they don't fire me for the ticket. But nevertheless, so I get into um, the next day. I get a phone call from at the house. Back then, that's when we had the voicemails and
Mhm.
So right, Danny Rogers, if you will, please give us a call back at this number. So I called back. I said, man, they wrote me a ticket. What does they want from me? The guy says, so you're working for the sheriff's office? I said, I am. How long have you been with the sheriff's office? I said, about a year and a half. What's going on? He says, well, why didn't you apply with us? High Point PD. I said, I did. He said, you did? I said, yes, sir. I said, but you all did not pick me. I was not chosen And I'm sure because of my high school grades. So it's, oh, okay. You go back and look for my applications, couldn't find it. And that's only been a year and a half, 2 years. But nevertheless, fast forward, High Point Police Department hired me as a patrol officer, go to school, become a patrol officer, pay my benefits, pay my salary. I left the sheriff's office. When I left the sheriff's office to go to High Point Police Department, then the captain cussed me out. He said, "Give him my bling, 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 bling." I said, I went on. So, I like, well, maybe it was a good thing for me to go. Nevertheless, I worked in High Point for about 3 years and some change. Came back, paper chaser. I was chasing the paper. Paper's like ghosts. Money's like ghosts. You can't catch that money. You
Yeah.
know, you can't catch that paper. But I go, I come back over to the sheriff's office and they pick me up. Like I put an application in like in 1 month. The next month I was hired. I was back on patrol and worked over here. And I knew that when I was leaving the city of High Point, one of the guys said, "Danny, I hear that you're going back to the county." I said, "I am." And I remember saying it. I said, "I am. I'm excited about going back." I said, because one day I'll be the first black sheriff of Guilford County. I'm 27 years old. 27 years old. I had no earthly idea of what I was speaking. I
Mhm.
just didn't. So I get back over here and the word had gotten out. Well, this guy's want to run for shit. I wasn't talking about it then. I still had like 24 more years before I could retire. I want to retire, come back as a senior guy and run for sheriff. By this time, that sheriff and two more sheriffs should have been gone. But nevertheless, um, they handled me until they finally found a way for me to leave out. So I left. I was released from the sheriff's office in '95, and came back in 2014 to run for sheriff, and then I come back, lost at the first general election, lost in the general election by 6%, and came back. I wasn't gonna run again. I said, I'm not gonna run. I said they're not ready for a black sheriff. They're not ready for a Negro, colored African American guy to come and bring leadership tools and skills. Now, I don't know everything. I do not know half of it. I have to ask people, surround myself around the right and smart, intelligent people, and that makes a good leader. I don't care what anybody say. You could be,
Yeah.
but nevertheless, I got a chance to do that, and I come back and I started running again, and here we are. Just interesting. But my journey has been so good at times I wouldn't give nothing in the world for never. I would never give anything in the world for it. But sometimes I'd be like, oh, what in the world did I do?
I can imagine, though, with the fact that you made history as the first Black sheriff of Guilford County, what did that moment mean to you personally and to the community that you served when you found out that you won and that you became the sheriff? That you,
Yeah.
let's give credit where credit is due, that you manifested, that you spoke into fruition. Now let's give you that credit too. How did
Oh
it feel
yeah.
when it actually came true?
It felt so. I still can't really put my hand.
Hmm.
It's so unexplainable to where it's just phenomenal. If I may use that word, you
Hmm.
know, because see when I said in 90 in what was that in '87 that I would be the first black sheriff. Oh, it was 2008 and '9 when the Holy Ghost would wake me up over in the morning by calling me sheriff. You know. And I'm like, what in the world? I said, Lord, I know you're not talking to me. All the stuff I don't going through in life and this and this. And they told me, shh. But it made me feel good when I found out that we won the office to see the sheriff or the office of sheriff because I knew that the journey had been a spiritual walk, an
Hmm.
assignment for me. I'm
Hmm.
on an assignment. I'm enjoying the assignment. I cried during the assignment. I prayed during the assignment. I laughed during the assignment. I get a little upset about the assignments. I just live life through the assignment. But God is there with me, you
Yes.
know. And
Every
I almost backed out the year that I won because we were going through some issues, and I'm like, my family, I'm like, it, the job don't mean that much to me.
mm,
My family is first. And then they were like, no, no, go ahead on. So we went on, we stuck with it. But it's amazing how when you hear God's voice, I tell you, I would say, God, there have been 3 people or 4 people that have come on the scene and have said, I've been sent by God. So I didn't ask God, or I didn't question God. But I did say, but God, there's a lot of people on the scene now that say they've been sent by you. And if I am not the right one, I ask you to please give me the strength to get out the way so your job can be done. It was
yeah,
gonna be done anyway. But I wanted to be the one. I wanted to make sure I was not standing in the way. You know.
yes.
So got a chance to move on, and it's been a very interesting journey. It has been because the journey started. I believe I go back to the age of 27 years of age when it
Mm,
started, and then there was some gaps there. There was a lot of teaching, educating pieces there. Some deserts there. Some river falls or waterfalls. There was some rainbows. It was everything.
a
But I had
mixed
to do
bag.
it. It was mixed. It was mixed, and all of it was God was in the center of it all. And even in my sinful nature self, I've asked God, help me get to this point. Help me what I'm supposed to do. So to have won to see, I felt like God was making a statement, not only just to me, but to the people. If you just trust and believe,
Mm, mm,
now trust, believe and expect for it's going to be microwavable. It's
mhm.
not. You remember the TV grill? You remember the TV dinners? That's when they first started exercising the pot pies and you put the stuff in it. People were so excited about put. We don't have to. The mothers there to go in the kitchen and cook a whole meal. She could just put a little tray in a convection oven and it would get heated up in 15 minutes. And people were like, "Oh man, look what we had! We had a TV dinner last night." Not realizing that thing was setting us up for mm, 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 microwavable stuff. And our mentality, if we're not careful, can be detrimental to us. Can you imagine? It took 27 plus years for the provision, for the vision, for the mission that God had given me to come to pass. And He still has not finished. You're going to make me get up in here.
But you know what's so beautiful about that in your story, though, is not only just trusting the process, but you were obedient the whole time. And I think a lot of people expect that when they ask for something in prayer and that they don't need to do anything but ask, but you've also got to be obedient. So even during those times where struggles came up and you was unsure, I don't know if this is the time or whatever, but you were still obedient and pushed through. So I feel like that's the reason why you were blessed to be in the position that you were in now and to open up the doors that you've opened up. um, I know that representation matters, especially in leadership.
Mhm.
Who were some of the mentors or role models that helped you shape your journey to become sheriff?
Wow. I go back as a little boy. My neighbor name was Benjamin Collins. He was a police officer that lived directly across the street from us. Um, he worked for the High Point Police Department. Then I had uh, Mr. Mr. Leach, Deputy Leach, who lived around the corner from us, who was a deputy sheriff. I think he served papers because he bought a car home. A little while, one of the older model cars with the bubble light on top of it. I remember that. And then we had Mr. Frank Turner, who actually his son and I was in school together. And we're walking home from school, and I'm walking past his house, and I see a deputy sheriff car parked in front of the house with a deputy sheriff in it. And then Mr. Turner comes out the car, out the house in his uniform. I said, "Oh man!" So I felt like well, with me seeing those individuals in my life was actually gearing me towards the profession. I never want to be a firefighter. I never want to put a water hose on my side. I'm going to run to the fire. But it's crazy, but I run to where they're fighting or when they shoot, or they're shooting. But those are callings that we must understand that is given to us from God. People don't. I believe when people realize that their mission or their call, and they understand they can get it, God will lead and direct their path. In 2012 is when I knew that I would run for sheriff in 2014. I had no idea when I started school at ECPI in 2010 that I would be prepared to run for sheriff in 2012. I was assigned. I was given the assignment: go to school. I
Mhm.
never missed a paycheck. And that's something. My church family was so good to me. And that's something. God made a way. But employees never missed a salary day. God made a way. You know. And but I'm so thankful because the story I tell people, I said, before I began to start telling the story or the vision of what I believe that God has shared with me for the county, He told me, He said, first of all, tell your story.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah, 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 yeah.
mm, mm.
Tell your story. Tell the people who Danny H. Rogers is.
Yes.
People want to tell where I have these bars and this gold, this bling bling, and I look like this, and that. Oh, hold up. I got to talk to you about the mud. I got to talk to you about the ashes. You know,
Beauty from ashes. So, how has your own life experience influenced the way you lead and make decisions now, Sheriff Rogers?
When I'm talking to the team, I never talk to them in judgment or judgmental state. I talk with them from, can I tell you a story? And they'll say, sure, Sheriff. And they'll say, well, and I tell them a story. I say, well, you never had a sheriff that talk to you like I do because I try to be as transparent with them.
Mhm. As a Black leader in law enforcement, how do you balance your community expectations with the demands of your position?
Hmm. That's a good question. One of the first things you must understand about me, and I tell people, I am an equal opportunist person, individual. That means, in my opinion, I might not have pronounced it right, I might not have put the definition out there right for people to understand. I said, but it does not matter who you are, who you serve, who you love, who you vote for. It don't matter. I'm gonna treat you all the same. I said, so if you're looking for me to do you a favor, then understand that favor has to be done for another favor for somebody else.
Yes.
So the best thing to do is just expect me to do my job, and we get it done. We do it right. So where you don't have no issues, and I don't have no issues, and the county don't have no issues.
Yes.
Uh,
Trust the process.
yes, I tell
Trust the
people, if it
process.
come across my desk, your name have to happen to be the president of this particular company or whatever. Not. I'm coming.
So, what programs or initiatives are you most passionate about right now that are making a difference in Guilford County?
I like to believe the re-entry and the jail diversion and the
Yes.
medical assistant treatment programs are. Because, Miss Myra, everybody deal with something.
Yes.
Everybody. The sad part is when people throw people to the wolves and don't give them no protection or no opportunity to do better. My goal is to help as many as I can and to see them get on their feet. Mental health crises we see doing on the street. We even seen it in the office with people. You deal with human being human there is no exemption to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna pay to live the borrowed time that we have on this planet called Earth. How you live is up to you. You know, can we
Yes.
get people to help? So reentry, getting people jobs, trying to help them get jobs, food, housing, shelters, stuff like that. You know, uh, a very large group of what we do, portion of what we do here. But also too has been a passion of mine is to have the deputies and the staff and the detention officers to go through training on
Mm.
how to understand diversity. Mm,
Yes.
mm, mm. How to
Yeah.
understand different cultures. Why do you think the way you think? Why you feel like you are? You don't know why. Somebody put that into you. You had to be taught that. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take that what they taught you, and we're gonna see if we can turn that thing around for the good. You know, because people stop people and they have biases. They're biases. All of us have biases. We have to learn how to control those things. You know,
That's
keep that stuff under control.
that's
You know,
right.
I tell people about my grandmother. I love my grandparents. Was good to me. You hear me? If there was ever a spoiled grandson,
Mm-hmm.
I'm him. You hear me? From my grandfather that spoiled me, that I had to have not 1 ounce of his blood, girl. Not an ounce. Not one. Spoiled me. It took me and it molded me on how to be respectful to people. It did. People that had no education worked on the farm, sharecroppers. The people that had some education was able to read and write, and count money. So a little bit of everything. And I tell people, I said, when you get a upbringing like that, you can do some things if you stay
Absolutely. And I think that those qualities make a good leader as well, because you can meet people where they are
yeah.
and you can see beyond. You can truly build relationships when you see in the person as a person and not a color or race or religion or anything, but you're just seeing them as a person. And that allows you to be able to touch many different people in many different ways. And that's what a true leader is. A true leader, even though you've made such a huge impact as being the first Black sheriff of Guilford County. And I have to tell you, I love the way that sounds, the first Black sheriff of
Yes,
Guilford County.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So you made an impact, but also too, I think that the timing was right for you to do it, honestly, because we needed someone in a leadership position that knew what it was to see color, because you are a person of color,
Mm.
but also that could lead a diverse group of people. And I feel like that's the reason why it was time for you to be in that position, and God knew exactly what he was doing in his time and when he did so. So now, because you are African American, how do you support and inspire young people, especially young Black men who may be facing challenges or doubts about their future?
I like that question too, because I do run across my young brothers that deal with life, and I tell them, I said, son, I get it. Try not to be choked up, but it is what it is.
No, I understand. I understand. It's a powerful position for you to be in. And also too, especially with you being so transparent about your history and saying, Friday, my last day. Bro, I'm out of here. I'm not finished school to now being the sitting sheriff for Guilford County.
Yeah.
If that is not a transformative story, I don't know what is. If anybody, little boy, white, black, yellow, brown, whatever color, we've all went through those seasons where it was like, that's it, I'm done. Because
Yeah.
when you were talking about it, I was thinking, shoot, it was some days when I was like, I didn't want to go back,
Yeah. I
So
get it.
that's real. But look at where you are now, and that's the most important thing. And I just think that your leadership is not only a blessing for your county, but also a blessing for little young Black boys and girls that are growing up that say, you know what, I might have struggled in school or my grades might not have been this or that, but I could be sheriff one day too. And that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. And I tell them when I go through the drive-through and I'm order something, and that's one part about the sheriff that I don't like is my eating schedule is so off.
Mm-hmm.
But because we work all the time and something going on. But the I drive through the drive-through and there's a young Black male taking my order, or better yet, giving me my drink or taking my money. I said, son, I appreciate you, young man.
Yes.
I appreciate you. You're working. You're making a difference.
Yep.
I appreciate you. You will continue to do well. You stay focused. Life is not like a box of chocolates because people like chocolate. People like chocolate that like that chocolate candy. Life is not like that. Life to me, it is what you make out of it. But
Mm-hmm.
you really have to make this thing work for what it does for you, not for what it does for somebody else.
Yes. Yes.
And I tell them, I said, I try to make a difference in their lives. I'm walking down. I could be walking down the street at the bank or something, and I see a group of guys walking. Their pants, the shagging, whatever. And I get it. I get it. Mine never did. And I made sure my boys didn't either. But the thing is that meet them where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Meet them where they're at. And I would speak to them. I say, "What's going on, fellas? How you doing? Yo, what's up? You know?" And they look at you like, "Yeah, okay, who are you?" Danny. And they say, "You police, you ship." Then they say, "Oh, you the sheriff." Start talking. Well, can we get pictures together? Hold up. You can. You can. We took pictures yesterday at the school. I told them all. I tell them all. We would take pictures together. Just don't embarrass me by putting no gang signals out there. Don't
Yeah.
do that. And they're
Still.
pretty cool. Yeah. I keep it real with them. I keep it real with. I say, no, don't do me like that. I say, come out the barber shop a few weeks ago. The guy said, "You're the sheriff, aren't you?" I said, "I am." He said, those other ones are deputies. They have sheriff on the back of the bulletproof vest or whatever. I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm gonna tell my mama." I try to tell my mama. I said, "Tell you what, would you like to take a picture of us together and show it to your mother? Take a selfie and show your mother you met the sheriff." That kid walked up to me. He said, "You know what? You about to make me change my life around."
Every day you're making a difference. Now you can't have us both on here choked up. Now I got to keep it together, but every day you're making a difference, and I think it's just so important to acknowledge that because now with the state of the world and the way we're losing our Black kids
Yes.
and our Black men, you know, it's important to have somebody to be in your position to say, been there, done that. I turn things around. I might not have done to the extent of what you have, but this is what you can work towards. And also, too, with you being in law enforcement, I think that they appreciate that you're real with them because sometimes when people get into these positions of leadership and stuff, it seems like that you forget. You know where you came from. You forget that you used to live on 25th Street, or you forget that, those were the struggles and stuff that you had when you're growing up. So the fact that you are not only leading Sheriff Rogers, but saying, look, it's possible for you. If I did it, you
You
can
do
do it
better.
too.
That's right.
Nothing is impossible. You
That's
know,
it. That's right.
nothing is impossible. So, as we celebrate Black History Month, what does this month represent to you personally and professionally?
Well, personally, I think about it quite a bit. God, you have me in this position. You have got me to where I'm at and gonna take me further. I'm so grateful. I never would have thought that I would have met the President of the United States, still there beside the Governor of North Carolina, or better yet, met senators of my community, or people that are activists in the community that we serve or that we live in. Never would have thought that I would have met people, kings and queens from different countries, and being able to be a part of the conversation pieces with them. Never would have ever thought, God, but you put me here for a purpose, for a reason, for a purpose. Uh, That reason and purpose is not for me.
Yeah.
It is for me to share and to bring it to somebody else, to help someone else make Black History Month, make somebody else become a celebrity or a person of following, people that gain. I mean, somebody else. It's for me to prepare people for leadership tools and styles and positions down the road. I often tell people, I'm not concerned about your now. That's what I tell the deputies. I'm not concerned about your now. I'm concerned about your future.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
concerned about your leadership. Let me groom you. Help me. Help us groom us. I said, write in your journal how you helped trained the sheriff.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's good.
beautiful. So now, when future generations look back on your leadership, what do you hope they'll say about Sheriff Danny Rogers?
Well, I think they're gonna say, well, he a crybaby, but his heart was right. I think they'll say he was transparent. I believe they will say, but he was real. That's real talk.
Yes. Yes. And finally, how can our listeners stay connected with your work and your initiatives happening through your office? Do you guys have a Facebook page or somewhere where your listeners can check out what's going on in Guilford County?
We do. We have the Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok. Uh, I'm missing anything else? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and just our website. Just go to www.gcso.gov. I think you don't get me to tell it. I've been trying to tell it right, but I know just tell them go. I tell them look, go to Guilford County Sheriff's Office website and follow us on our social media. You'll love our social media because we have haters and then we have lovers. And I tell people the haters do nothing but fuel the lovers because the people that's like, what is this about? But it's good. It's good. But follow us on our social media, and we try to make sure that we have uh, a social media page or pages that keep people engaged. I
Mhm.
have uh, I have Bria Evans, who's my baby. I brought her in from East Carolina. She graduated from East Carolina, and she worked at a local place. But I had to take her. She got a chance to get a job here. I didn't put no punches or anything. She got a job. I said,
Mhm.
really? I said, okay. So I had to take that college mentality and change it into the adult, successful working person. And with the team, she's done well. She we're grown, but she's doing well. She's been with us now, I think 3, 4 years, and I love it every day that she's here. Some days she know how to work them nerves though, but she's real. And then I have Mike Evans. I mean, not Mike Evans, but Mike Leonard. Mike Leonard. I have Mike Leonard who takes the photos, and he's the one who does the photos, and he and Bria gets together, and Bria posts the photos. Bria takes photos too and videos, but they work it together. I have a diverse group of people that we bring, so we get a chance. We have different cultures that try to get stuff done that way we can, because Guilford County is over 560,000 people now.
Mhm.
So with that being said, it's a melting pot.
Yes, yes, and it's
In the
important
mel-
to
yeah,
represent everybody.
yeah, you have to be able to tap, relate to everybody, and I mean, I move around the entire community. I had no, I had no idea. I had no idea that God would bless me like this, and I just didn't. You know, I have met many countries, leaders here, the community. And it's a shame that we're experiencing now in the United States of America, to where we have been known for the land of the free, for people to come and get on their feet and help uh, with their families. I
Yes.
know it's just uncalled for, but I stand for what I stand for. You know,
And I believe that you'll agree when I say this, that prayer changes things.
yes,
And
ma'am.
even though we don't understand the why, the reasons, and all of that stuff, I know in the end, when everything's said and done, we'll have a better understanding and understand the reason why everything has had to play out exactly how it has played out.
There's a song they sing in church. We'll understand it by and by.
By and by.
We
Yes,
will
sir.
understand it, and
Well,
I look for that day to come because I know it's coming. And I tell people I don't get excited. I'm excited about what I believe that's coming for the newness of us. But I don't
mhm.
get excited about what I see that, they try to fear, they try to, I mean, I speak my mind about stuff, but I don't get excited. They don't rattle no cages here. The
Yeah,
thing is, we let them understand, no, you do what you need to get done, we do it, but you're going to respect your fruit. You're going to respect your
exactly. That part. Well, I think this is a good place for us to stop. I appreciate you sharing space with me today. I appreciate your transparency, Sheriff Rogers. This has been an incredible and inspiring conversation. Sheriff Rogers' journey reminds us that leadership is not about position, it's about purpose, perseverance, and people. As we continue to honor Black History Month, let's celebrate those who are writing new chapters of progress and paving the way for the next generations. Sheriff Rogers, thank you so much for your service and for sharing your story with us today. I appreciate it more than words can express.
Well, thank you so very much, Miss Maya. Thank you so very much. It's an honor and a privilege.
And to all of my listeners, thank you for tuning in to Moments with Myra. Be sure to subscribe, share, and follow. And until next time, remember to take a moment with Myra. Have a great day.
Why we keep pretending that this fire still burns warm? We hold on like the weather, but our seasons change the form. Who are we fooling, baby? We both seen the truth inside. Love can fade so gently that we barely even realize. You say I'm sorry, and I know